I grew up playing with Play-Doh, though back home we call it plasticine. Have you ever noticed the smell? Or the way it feels in your hands? It's rubbery and a little greasy. But when I was little, what I loved about Play-Doh was the fact that I never knew what I was making until I was making it. I would just pick it up, and the freedom to make whatever just took over. I could make a village, my family, all of the above. It just changes right before your eyes. But do you know what else has gone through a lot of change? You. We all came to the University of Iowa a different person than the person we are now. Chances are you look a little different, you feel a little different. But most likely, your goals are different now than what they were when you were a freshman. But let's back it up a bit. Do you remember when you were a freshman and your one goal was to figure out what you wanted to major in? Well, at that point, picking a major was like picking your entire future, and you don't want to mess that up. When I came to the University of Iowa as a transfer student from Malaysia, I declared myself an English major. The thing was, I had never taken an actual literature class before. All I knew was that I loved to read, and that was the only thing that got me excited. But what did an actual English major do or look like? I had no clue, and I was terrified. But I came to Iowa, and I took those English classes. I met some friends and professors who helped me along the way, and I found myself thinking, oh, maybe I'm not too bad at this. Maybe this is my thing. And so, by the end of that semester, I could comfortably call myself an English major. Finally. The next semester, I took a fiction writing class, my very first. I was always too afraid to write anything of my own. But one day, a famous writer rolled into Iowa City and said something that made me feel less afraid. She said, writing is 90% agony and 10% actual writing. And so I wrote my first short story. By the end of that semester, I was an English and creative writing major. The following semester, I performed in my first play at Iowa. Long story short, by the end of that semester, I was an English creative writing major with a theater arts minor. And I continued to change in the semesters after that. I discovered that I loved designing. I performed in more plays at Iowa. I took a job at the English department. I participated in magazines and clubs. I found myself. And just like that, I was nearing the end of my journey at Iowa. My last semester. Spring 2020. Every class I ever took, everything I threw myself into changed me. All this, the sum of my experiences at Iowa, felt like they were crystallizing. I was nearing the end of my chapter here, and I was happy with everything that Iowa had given me. But then, as we all know, the pandemic hit and plans changed. Personally, I had to postpone graduation until December, but others lost lives, jobs, and all sense of normalcy. We stayed in and protected those we loved. But then we took another hit. On May 25th, 2020, George Floyd was murdered by the police, and the country faced a reckoning unlike anything I've ever seen in my 3 years at Iowa. Black Lives Matter became the resounding call to action across America and the world. The world changed, and so have we. But you know what? In the midst of change and uncertainty, the world also revealed to us who we truly are. We, the graduating class of 2020, are resilient. Last semester, we were sucker punched by having to pivot to online classes last minute. And we still got up for round 2. I never expected to spend another semester at Iowa, but I'm so grateful that I did, because this semester, I learned to find resilience in the face of destruction. I got to do things I never would have been able to do otherwise. Most notably, I got to be a part of a student petition called Change U Iowa English to demand racial equity at the English department. We have since established a permanent Change U Iowa English committee to help continue the work that we have started. And here we are at the finishing line, graduating. We have our degrees, but more than that, we have a reminder of all of our accomplishments made in the thickest of fires. In spite of every Zoom call we had to brave, in spite of all the senior year experiences we had to miss, in spite of the fears, the anxieties, we did it. And with the help of our families, our peers, and our professors at the University of Iowa, we've changed in ways that no major or degree will ever adequately reflect. And as we go into the future, we will again be pushed to change. But you've proved to yourself and to the world that if there's anything you can do, you can change. And it will be for the better.